Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks Live. And we've got a lot of people here already. Stephanie, JP, Laic, Vintage, Jeff 7. Hey everybody, Tripwire. Glad to see y'all here. And so, what do we got going on this weekend? I've been working. I'm about to post another one of my shorts on the tiny house I've been working on. I've been doing the fiberglass insulation. Man, that stuff will make you miserable. So I'm all itchy and irritated. I wear a long sleeve shirt, so it's not too bad. But in the areas that is exposed, like my wrists and stuff, it gets irritated. Man, it's aggravating. Jeff, you realize you're old, huh, Jeff? Yeah, we've got our Aussies here. Glad to see y'all. No picture, Laic? What do you mean? Is there no video? You're not seeing me? Yeah. Yeah, that's what we have too. JP is wet then sunny. It'll go from literally pouring down rain, lightning crashing all over the place to just burning hot. Then the sun will come out right after it rains, and it'll just be so muggy. It'll start evaporating all that water. David Jenkins, good evening. Where are you at, David? You in Australia too, David? Morning, LJ. Glad to see you here. Savage Lee. Glad to see you here. Robbie Rees. All right, from the UK. Glad to see you, man. yeah, yeah. I was getting that stuff in my eyes too, dude. That is the worst. Those little fiberglass particles, they float around in the air and they get in your eye, and oh man. It's Jeff's birthday. Happy birthday, Jeff. Oh, okay. San Francisco. All right. Oh yeah. Arizona is good for breaking humidity. Arizona, New Mexico. I actually lived in Arizona for a little while when I was a kid. It's nice over there, but it gets hot. I remember it getting so damn hot there in Arizona, but it's just a different kind of heat. It's just not the humid, just miserable heat like it is here. But it gets hotter in Arizona, but somehow it's more bearable. It's just not it's just not miserable like it is here when it gets hot. Mac MC, glad to see ya. Glad you could make it. All right. Yeah, so anyway, what I've been thinking about this week, and we'll see what y'all think about it. I'm gonna throw this out there. But did any of you see that couple that got outed? They were cheating, and they got outed at a Coldplay concert. I don't know. I've never listened to Coldplay or whatever. It's a band, and they got caught on the kissing camera, and it's just all over the internet, right? Oh yeah, yeah. 117 in Arizona is better than 95 in Florida. Yeah, I agree. I've experienced them both, and I would take 117 in Arizona. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so hot that yeah, but you got to be careful. You actually burn yourself if you touch metal outside when it's that hot. But have y'all seen those people that got caught on that kissing cam at the Coldplay concert and got outed? They were cheaters. And the thing about that is, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. You know, people cheat and they make mistakes or whatever. So I'm not like, you know, being you shouldn't cheat. I'm not being up on a high horse or high moral horse here or anything, saying that people do whatever, right? But the thing about it is that, number one, these people, when they got caught on the kissing cam, and if you want to look it up, you can. It's fairly interesting. But what struck me was the dude's reaction. The dude actually slunk down and got on his hands and knees, and like he must have crawled away or something, slithered away like a snake. You know what I'm saying? He literally just like bent his knees and got down on his hands and knees and disappeared. When the woman, she covered her face and she turned around. So that just, when I saw the dude do that, I'm like, what kind of dude? At least if you're gonna cheat and you're gonna do that, at least have the balls to, you know, to walk away. Don't crawl away. Don't slither away. Turn around and walk away like a man. You know what I'm saying? But this dude, I call him a dude, but this CEO, because he's some kind of billionaire CEO, right? And he slithered away like a snake, almost literally. He just went down on his hands and knees and completely disappeared between the, you know, behind the row of people in front of him. Yeah. But the point in the whole thing, not that they were cheating, and not even that the dude is whatever he is, but it's the internet's reaction to it, right? Society's reaction to it is what really got me, because this shit is all over. You can't go anywhere online right now without seeing this shit. Literally, Aldi's is posting memes about these fools, these two people, on their advertisements for the company Aldi's. And I saw another furniture store had used their, you know, that whole kissing cam thing as an advertisement too. Like, you know, get your wife a couch from whatever furniture so she doesn't end up at a Coldplay concert with some other dude or some shit like that. So, I mean, literally businesses are using that shit as fodder. But the reaction to it is all kind of funny, right? Everybody's laughing at them. Everybody's, you know, they're busting them like, oh, it's karma and all this stuff, and it's funny. And when I remember back, part of the thing that I miss about the 70s and 80s and stuff, I mean, and I honestly, when I say this, is the morality that we had. There were morals. Okay, if a woman, that woman there that got busted cheating with a married guy, she would have been called a homewrecker. And that guy running around behind his wife and shit, he would have been called a womanizer or a lech or lecherous or whatever. They had names for these people back then. They were judged by society for bad behavior. And that is completely gone. They're not judged by society. They're laughed at. They're mocked a little bit. You know, it's a joke. It's you know, they got caught cheating or whatever. It's just a joke. It's funny. Let's make fun of them. But what they're doing isn't bad. It's just funny in the way they got caught, right? That's funny. Their reaction to getting caught up on a jumbotron. Their reaction to it is what everybody's laughing at. Not, there's been no point brought up that, hey, these two people have just destroyed two families, right? Just, you know, broke the hearts of two other people, their wife and their husband, Their kids are going to get mocked in school. Their kids are going to get ridden endlessly in school. They've destroyed 2 families with their abhorrent behavior. This is wrong. None of that's being said. It's just a funny little 5-second thing you see online. It's just kind of funny, and I kind of miss, and not individual morality. You can do what you want. Be as evil or as good as you want on an individual scale. I don't judge individuals, but on a whole, as a society, we've lost our moral compass as a civilization. And if you look at that, that's what happened to Rome. They were decadent, they were amoral, immoral, and they rotted from within. And I see that's what's happening today in America and Western civilization as a whole. We're rotting from within, and this little shit that we see is evidence of that, right? Our morals, our moral compass is completely just spinning around on it. You know what I mean? The needle's just spinning around. We have no idea what the hell's going on morally, and it's a circus. People out there just showing their ass and doing whatever, and everybody laughing and pointing, and nobody saying, hey, maybe you need to pull your pants back up, dude. That's not right what you're doing. And this isn't about religion either, so don't go down that avenue with it either. It doesn't matter if you're atheist or Mormon or whatever. It doesn't matter. Everybody, even atheists, have a moral compass. They know the difference between what right and wrong. You don't diddle kids, and you don't murder people. You don't, rob banks. Those are bad things. And then there are good things. So everybody's got a moral compass. So it's not about religion or any of that shit. It's just about morality. It's about the difference between right and wrong. And as a society, we have forgotten that. We don't know the difference between right and wrong anymore. Individuals do. But like George Carlin said, an individual can be a smart person. Or maybe I'm confusing that. I know what's his name said it. Tommy Lee Jones said it in that movie Men in Black. An individual can be a smart person, but a group of people, they're stupid. And that's what we're seeing. Yeah, Jeff, morals and ethics are just words to some people, and that's exactly right. And you see that stuff. Yeah. Linda Blair's head. Mad Max world. Yeah, we've got the chaos and the weirdness of a post-apocalyptic world, but we don't get the post-apocalyptic part. You know what I'm saying? we don't get the cool part, just the stupid part. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Where the karma, yeah, vintage. And you see this stuff, and people, like I said, not every individual is going to act with complete and total morality every single moment of their lives. We all make mistakes. We make bad judgments. We succumb to moments of weakness. That's given. That's going to happen. But as a society, we're acting like we're just supposed to be animals, rutting out in a field, just doing whatever, and that's okay. And we just point and laugh and accept. We're supposed to accept and diversity. All of these perversions and immoral behaviors are supposed to be accepted now and included. And it's just, I just don't like it. I'll be honest with you. I don't like it. I'm not saying everybody needs to be a Christian or whatever. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that society as a whole needs needs a more stable moral compass. And I think that because we're losing that, that's just a sign that we're decaying from within, just like the Romans did. In a VA program working on an MBA with a concentration in AI. Oh, okay. AI. Yeah. Well, hopefully you're on it. Hopefully you're going to keep them from taking over the world, David. Yeah, and for those of you, LJ said he wasn't really moral until he got off drugs. And for all of you, I mean, a lot of us have lived through addiction in one way or another, and that takes a lot of strength to live through that, to get past that. You know what I mean? So I applaud anybody who's done that, who has gone down that road and found themselves in a situation of addiction, and then, you know, powered through that shit and realized, you know, the truth of what's going on, that you have the power. You got your power back, because that is, in a way, we are tricked into that. We're tricked into thinking that our power, that something else outside us has the power, the power to control our lives. So anybody to take that power back and take control of their own lives, that man, that's an awesome thing. I really, really applaud that. Oh yeah, Trip, do unto others. Yep. Yeah, if people would follow the golden rule, then everything, well, everybody would leave Gen X alone, because that's all we want. We leave everybody else alone, and then they'd leave us alone, right? Yeah, the dumbass apocalypse, Lake. Yeah, yeah, that's what we're facing right now. Yeah, yeah, it's idiocracy, and it's happening in real time. And you go back, and I don't know how many of y'all have seen that movie or seen it recently, but you go back and watch that movie, and it's like watching 1984. You know, when we first saw it, it was a comedy. You know, you laugh at it and shit. But now you watch it, you're like, oh shit, damn, this this guy, whoever wrote this uh, was seeing the future. You know what I mean? This shit's happening now. Especially when you pay attention to our politicians, they are just numbskulls. I just can't believe that people vote for those stupid sons of bitches. The only thing they're good at is lying. They can lie. Oh yeah, yeah, LJ. Yeah, it is simpler. Yeah, being moral and honorable is not an easy thing to do. It's the hardest way to go. Yeah. Yeah, Mac. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, that's the thing. LJ mentioned it there. Life was simpler back then, and yes, and that's why people do it now, because it's just simpler. You just do what you want. I just do what I want, right? If I get somebody else to foot the bill, you know, or if I just have to. The only thing I really have to worry about is paying my bills, and then other than that, I just do what I want. I go to bed with whoever I want. Steal, lie, whatever, whenever I want. I just do what I feel like, and screw the consequences. Screw the next guy. Screw it all. It doesn't matter. I don't. That's a very simple, easy life. There's no effort in that. I just do whatever I want. You know, And then if anything comes back to haunt me, if anything happens that I don't like, then I just complain about it, and I justify and I shift the blame, and I blame others, and all of society is telling me that it's due to racism. No, even if I'm white, yeah, I'm not saying that it's other color. Even if I'm white, it's due to racism and and people transphobia and all this shit. It's due to all this stuff, all these things that everybody hates. That's why we hate them, because they make my life hard. It's not my decisions that make my life hard. It's not my personal choices. It's just everybody else. Society is making my life hard. So that way, for that reason, I'll just shit on society and everybody else and just do whatever I want, and I can justify it every time anybody asks me any questions. And that you just see that on TV. You see that with celebrities, they justify, they lie, politicians especially. They'll make all these promises to us, and then they don't even lie properly. Yeah, Trip. But these politicians and shit, they make all these campaign promises, and then they just turn around and do literally the opposite thing. Literally. The opposite thing that they promised they would do. And then they justify it. Oh, well, I tried to, but, the Democrats stopped me. They, those damn dirty Democrats, they stopped me from doing the will of the people. Bitch, you weren't going to do it in the beginning. You've been promising that shit for 30 years now, and the Democrats been stopping you for 30 years. You were never going to do it. You just keep kicking that can down the road and blaming the opposite, the opposite party. If he's a Democrat, he's blaming the Republicans. If she's a Republican, she's blaming the Democrats. Whatever. It's just a big mess of lies and immorality. And then justification for the immorality, instead of just taking up responsibility for the things we've done, because I'm no better than anybody else, taking responsibility for the things we've done, because that's the hard thing. That if I take responsibility, that means that I'll have to change. I won't be able to keep doing the same thing I keep doing again. You know what I mean? I won't be able to do the same things over and over and over again. If I'm shitting on my neighbor and I take responsibility for it, well, then I'm not supposed to do that anymore. But if I blame it on my other neighbor, excuse me, if I blame it on my other neighbor, well, then I can keep shitting on him. I can just shit on him all day. Oh, it's Joe's fault. Joe. Blame it on Joe. And then just keep up the same bad behavior. That's what we're living in. And people have become experts at justification and deflection and all this stuff. And you have to live in an amoral society. You have to do that. That's part of it's a necessity. You just can't run around hurting people and accepting responsibility for it. You've got to justify it and blame someone else. Oh, I did that because all of the system. I did that because of the system, and they're hurting brown people by deporting them. So yeah, that it's maddening to watch it happen. And still, whenever I look at that guy, how he cowered down and crawled away in that video of him when he gets caught on the kissing cam. Yeah, that dude, didn't he? Yeah, I mean, he showed the world who he was. He showed the world. Yeah, what a joke. Yeah, LJ, I think it was. I just had it in my head now. That old writer, Mark Twain. I think Mark Twain was the one that said, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything, right? But if you tell lies constantly, then you have to constantly remember these lies, and and try to keep up with all these lies you told. But if you tell the truth, then you don't have to remember anything. It is just the truth. The truth is what it is. You don't have to keep up with all this shit. It's just a lot easier to be honest and truthful. So it's just easier, let alone, the right thing to do. So, I just never have been like a real good liar. I never could. I don't know if I could even make a decent politician, because I wouldn't be able to get up there and lie like that, and it's not because the people want to be lied to, but it's because if you won't lie, then you won't get the funding, right? You've got to lie to the people to get the funding from the big corporations and shit, in order to get seen on a bigger stage, so that you can advance through the political hierarchy there and get elected. So yeah, you've basically got to be able to lie, and lie well, and lie constantly. But they don't even have to remember their lies. I've seen them just get caught bald-faced in a lie, and they just divert and deflect, and they'll just start talking about a completely different subject. You ask them about their thing, and they'll deflect it and start talking about something else completely. That's the art of it. They'll just ignore your question when you call them out on their lie. They'll just start talking about doorknobs and shit. It's just ridiculous. Without lies and deceit, would we even have news or any form of media entertainment, Stephanie? Yeah, I think they could. At least we used to at one point, at least partially. I don't know how. I don't know if it was all truth back then, but we used to have hard-hitting, truthful journalists who would go out and root out good, strong stories and record them as factually as possible and just report them to the people. And that was very interesting back then. It was fascinating. That has completely gone away. That now they're just talking heads for the powers that be. They have a script. You can watch. It's just it. You can watch them now, from New York to LA, and hit every major city along the way, and all of their local news channels are all saying the exact same thing, because it came the script came down from above. Yeah. But before that, each local news channel was its own entity. That was before they all got bought out, and now they're controlled by billion-dollar corporations and shit, and they're told what to do. And that's why there are so many liars on the TV, because only the liars got promoted. If you won't tell the lie, then you're out, and they'll get somebody who will tell the lie, read the script. That your job is to read the script. Can you do that? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're hired. You're promoted. Whatever. Get in, sit in a chair. Say that shit. And so, but back in the day, there was honesty in the media. I don't know what percentage or whatever. I don't know just if it was 100% honesty, just truth across the board. I wouldn't say that. There were lies. People would print lies in the newspaper and that stuff back then. But it wasn't across the board, like it is now. That's almost all we hear now is lies. It's all lies and fraudulence and bullshit, gaslighting. And that seems like that's the way of the entire internet, right? And even, you have to really search for some content that just speaks truth. Right? You really have to search. And then even sometimes after you watch them for a while, you'll start asking questions like, why did he just say that? Why did she just say that? That doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And I've quit watching them after a while. I just no, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna pay attention to someone who peddle one lie. If I bust them in one lie, then you don't know how many lies they told you in the past that that just slipped past you. You know, so I don't know. It's a difficult world we live in now, and that's why I say that a structural reset is what's called for. And I wouldn't be upset if it happened. If I saw the light in the sky, I wouldn't be too upset. That's why I keep going back. I don't know how many of you have seen Waterworld, but when he drops that torch down into that tanker, the oil tanker, and that old man in the rowboat that he's rowing around in the oil inside the tanker, and he sees the torch coming, and he says, "Thank God." That's one of my favorite scenes in any movie. I love that. Yeah. So I can relate with that old man. Put it like that. I can relate to him. Yeah. Yeah. The news used to be honest and fairly, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that they were 100% truthful across the board. I mean, they would lie if it served them, but they weren't told, just given a script and told to read whatever the hell it said. They reported on the news as it came to them. And that's the difference now, because nowadays they're just, like reading a book. They're just reading a script that they could be completely opposed to morally and intellectually, but they'll read it anyway because that's their job. Yeah, Trip. Yep, there used to be fines for lying in the news, in the newspaper. You're right, Tripwire. Even here in the U.S., yeah, that used to be a bad thing. Now it's just par for the course. That's just an accepted thing. Brad Harris, there he is, Big Brad. Glad to see you here, man. You just now waking up, Brad? You got Folgers in your cup? Remember that? Remember that commercial? The best part of waking up was Folgers in your cup. Y'all remember that commercial? Y'all had that commercial in Australia, Tripwire? Huh? Yeah, LJ, complete psyop across the board. Vintage is on his way to bed. It's evening over there in Australia. Yeah, all the channels have the same script, Jeff. Yeah, probably even abroad. It's because it's all this globalist shit now, right? I bet the English and the Australian, and I bet all the news channels, BBC and all that, they probably have the same script that they get sent as well. Good to the last drop, yeah, yeah, LJ, yeah, and that was a major shift in society as far as that goes, when the news just started reporting bullshit to us, right? They just started reporting rubbish, just whatever lies or propaganda they felt like, whatever, and there weren't no consequences. There was no big boycott against them when they got busted in their lies, because most people just swallowed them hook, line, and sinker. So, I mean, us individuals, I could go out on the street and hold up the mainstream media are liars sign out there, and people just think I was crazy right now. So, but because most of the people watching that shit or even aware of it are, older people, boomers and older, and that's just the shit they've been watching their entire lives. and it has changed behind the scenes, but they don't realize it. They don't realize how much the mechanism has changed behind the scenes, and so they just follow that mainstream media like good little puppies, and it's crazy to watch that shit. Everybody should have dumped it. That shit should have disappeared long time ago. All of it. NBC, CBS, all that bullshit. And, gone to... I don't try to report news or anything. I'll talk about events, current events sometimes on here. But I don't try to talk about news. But there are, independent podcasters like this who do that. They report the news. They go out like the old school journalists and go dig up the actual facts, the real news. So I think that's where we're headed in the future, hopefully. But with censorship and all this other stuff, they're not making big waves. How many of these independent journalist podcasters do you know of? I know they're out there, but I don't know any of their names. They don't get promoted, on any social media platforms. They don't get promoted on YouTube. They don't get promoted on Facebook or any of this stuff. They're all just, unknown, anonymous people out there doing their thing. I'm sure they have followings, at least enough to support what they're doing, but they'll never go completely mainstream and become a huge name like Joe Rogan or something like that, because the powers that be, Google and Bank of America or whatever, they're not going to allow them to be that way. Yeah, that's an interesting thing, is the weather. I mean, there's so much. LJ just mentioned the weather, AI weather report, and the magnetic pole flip and all this stuff. That's some interesting shit. And I actually looked at the thing where it showed how much the pole had moved in the last 100 years or 200 years or something, and it was just a little bit, and then in the last 20 years it's moving all over the place. So it kind of seems like we're headed for that. I'm not going to say that the pole's going to flip in the next 2 weeks or whatever, or the next 2 years, but it seems like it's going to relatively soon. But then what will that cause? What will be the repercussions if the poles did flip? That's what, nobody really knows, what's going to happen. Maybe nothing. It might be like Y2K, everybody gets all amped up and scared, and then the damn thing flips, and wake up the next morning and everything's the same. So, okay, the pole flipped. The South Pole is up in the Arctic Circle now, and the North Pole is down in Antarctica. So, there's no telling. But it could be catastrophic. The thing is, we have no reference. The poles never flipped before, not in recorded history that we know of. So there was really no way to record it, but maybe some of the catastrophes that have been recorded that we know about in ancient history, maybe they were caused by a pole flip. So I don't know. It's hard to say. But then all that weather and stuff, and then the weather, it seems to be changing, but then you have the government, the United States government, admitting that they control the weather in congressional testimony and stuff, that they control the weather, that they can do this shit. So then you get all these floods and all these storms and all this stuff, and so every time a violent weather effect happens, it's blamed on the government and the weather, their weather control and their cloud seeding and all this shit that we know they're doing. We know they're controlling the weather. We know they're seeding clouds and all this stuff. We know they're doing all this stuff. But to what end? What are they doing? Are they doing it to the United States population? Have they been doing this shit in the United States? We don't know. I mean, we know they have been doing the cloud seeding, but we're not 100% sure about the recent floods. Were those caused by natural phenomena, or were they caused by governmental interference? Was that done by our government? R. Snyder, what's up? What's up, dude? Glad to see you here, man. And they want to weaponize the weather, or they have already, and that just makes sense to me. When you have people who are basically got unlimited resources and they want to create weapons, and they can try anything, right? We just throw a few $billion of tax money at it. Well, yeah, go ahead. See if you can't mess with the weather. See if you can't control the weather. We'll give you, you got 10 years. We'll give you a bunker and a lab and all that stuff. Go ahead. So that's perfectly plausible to me. And then they try all kinds of shit and stumble across something that works. Hey, that's perfectly plausible to me. Oh, okay. If the poles flip, the Earth stops. Sadly, the oceans don't. Yeah, so just like spinning a cup around in the full of water, a cup full of water. If you spun it around and then you stop the cup, the water would keep moving in there. Yeah, I don't know. Now, I've read several times, I don't know how true it is, but the Earth's spinning, it's speeding up. It's speeding up significantly. We're actually spinning around faster. So I don't know if that has anything to do with that. Maybe it spins around. Maybe that the pole thing gets the Earth spinning around fast, and then when it flips, the Earth comes to a complete stop. That would suck. Yeah, that would suck. I'm not gonna lie. That's not high on my list of apocalypse that I wanna that I wanna try to live through. Yeah, I don't like being wet all the time. No, I don't want a water world. I like that scene. It was a pretty good movie, but no, I'm not rooting for the water world apocalypse. Chaz, what's up, Chaz? You reloading again, dude? I know how you are, bro. Chaz, every time Chaz gets on here, he says he's got to go reload. You crack me up with that shit, Chaz. Yeah, Lake, that now the Younger Dryas flood because of a pole shift. That could have been it. They say it was an asteroid that impacted in the glaciers up north and melted everything, but that it could very well be a pole shift that did that. Speeding up, and so it is speeding up, huh? All right, reloading in progress. All right, Chaz. Good man. But yeah, that's the thing. When I talk about the apocalypse and stuff, or unapocalypse, I should say, I get a lot of people get on there. I made that video the other day about that shit, how people get on there. You can't survive the apocalypse. What makes you think you're going to survive the apocalypse? What makes you special and all this stuff? And I didn't say that. I'll probably be the first to go. I'm not. I got to die of something, though. So to me, this is my line of thought. If I die in an apocalypse or die of a heart attack, Why is one better than the other? Why? Why is it so noble and insane to want to die of a heart attack instead of dying in an apocalypse? I just don't get it. If I had my choice, I'd go out fighting the elements, fighting the world, the earth in an apocalypse, testing my mettle and seeing the end in some kind of exciting way, rather than just laying in a hospital or laying out in my yard clutching my chest. I That's just me. Maybe I am crazy. Like I said, maybe I'm crazy. But I would rather go out in the apocalypse. And I'm perfectly aware that I might be the very first human being to go. I might be the first one. The asteroid might hit me in the forehead. If that's what it is, then that's what it is. I'll roll the dice. There's a lot of other places for the asteroid to hit, so I would roll the dice if it were up to me. And I know a lot of people do not like it when I say that. Yeah, oh, okay, it's organic, Chaz? All right. Oh, okay, Snyder. Yeah, I've heard that before. There have been many pole reversals in the past. We just don't know really when they were. They can't pick the date. In the year 75 there was a pole flip, and in the year 2891 BC there was a pole flip. And that's another thing I don't like. I don't know how that just bothers me when they took the national or the Pledge of Allegiance out of schools because they had the word God in it, and now I know that they took the Pledge of Allegiance out of the schools just because it was the Pledge of Allegiance, because it was America was in it. Having the word God in it was just their excuse. But anyway, when they changed that shit from BC, when they're talking about dates, to BCE, from before Christ to before current era, that shit irritated me. Not because they took Christ out of it or whatever. They're atheists and they want to do their thing. That's fine. I don't have a problem with atheists. Do you? But just to change shit that was perfectly good, just to shit on everything that is old, and it is still working properly, is still perfectly serviceable and a-okay, and nobody even says before Christ. They say BC, so it's not really this big Christian thing. It's just BC. A lot of people didn't even know what the hell BC stood for, but they changed it. And that change, for the sake of change, just to shit on the old, perfectly serviceable thing, tradition thing, whatever you want to call it, that bothers me. To throw perfectly serviceable shit out the window just to be new and to change and to create this bullshit world. So but even when you looked at that's changing history as well, because even when you looked at that, you knew before Christ, so that the year 0 right around there somewhere is when Christ came upon the scene. So you knew, that's part of history. That's just part of history. So to say before current era, to change that, now you're saying that it's just some random shit with nobody, even the people that knew what it meant. Now the people growing up, they don't know anything. That's not connected to any event. It's just before current era. What is that connected to? Nothing. No part of history. No. So not only is it just changing shit for the sake of change, but it's the erasure of history. And I don't like any of that shit. Yeah. Yeah, low hanging fruit before we get got. Yeah, vintage. Yeah, I agree with that shit. All right, LJ. Yeah, I'm off to work in about an hour or so too. I gotta keep track of the time here. Yeah, yeah, those magnetic flips. They've been happening according to science. You know, the stuff they're digging up. All right, LJ. Thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate it. Mike Fleisner, my boy. Hey, Mike. Man, we're about to wrap it up though, Mike. About 5 minutes. You have to go back and watch it over again. Yeah, I think so, JP. Yeah, just desperate cry, look at me. And that's what all this shit is about. Yeah, clickbait, look at me. Uh, they're also so self-centered and egotistical, and that's just becoming the norm. Like a self-centered egotistical person used to be, just every once in a while, one out of every 20, 30, 100 people, something like that, were truly self-centered and egotistical. Now that is becoming the norm. These people now, they're all self-centered and egotistical. It's all about me, me, me. Click on my shit. Come, look at me. Listen to me. Believe my lies. All this shit. It's insane. It's insane. Yeah, keep asking questions, Snyder. Question every damn thing. Question it all. Especially, that's the thing, is especially the shit that you believe in the most, the shit that you follow the most, the shit that you support the most. That's what you should be questioning the most. So that we don't end up being blind followers. We're not sheep. We're not lemmings. Just because your crowd is running off the cliff, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't ask, hey, why are we running off this cliff? Who put this cliff here? Who told us to run off this cliff, and why do they want us to run off this cliff? Because what I see when I look around, I see a bunch of different groups of people, and they're all running off the cliff for different reasons, following different groups, but they're all heading down into the same, into the same fate. So question everything. Question everything, especially the whatever group or person or whatever influencer that you follow, whatever you identify with. Those are the ones that you should question the most and the hardest. That's my view anyway, and that's why I'm so hard on Trump, because I believe in a lot of what he's doing, and I supported him hardcore. And so that means that in my mind, he's the one that I have to question the most, because if he's the one that could lead me down the wrong path, if anyone can lead me down the wrong path, it's Trump. So I've got to question every damn thing he does, so that I don't end up flying, off the cliff with the rest of the lemmings and saying, maybe I shouldn't have done that. About halfway down, I wake up, splat. Yeah, not me. Yeah, yeah, we're not the type to follow blindly, Trip, and that's what I love about Gen X. That's why I'm proud to be an Xer. I mean, I'm proud. I'm proud to be here with a group of good people like you, sharing ideas, and I wish more of the younger people could watch us, not necessarily me and my channel and stuff, but just listen to y'all and all the good stuff y'all say on the comments, and get some of this wisdom and wake the hell up. But it is what it is, I guess. All right. It's time for me to get ready for work, so I'm gonna leave y'all here with that. All right. Thank you for showing up, Lake, Trip, Robbie, Chaz, Snyder. Who else we got? Stephanie, Jeff 7, Alpha Channel, Robbie Reese, I know I'm going to miss somebody. Did I say LJ? Brad Harris, JP, David Jenkins, all right, Mac MC, David Jenkins, that's David Jenkins again, okay. All right, if I missed you, I apologize, but thank you for showing up and hanging out with me. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I love doing these live streams with y'all, hanging out with y'all and talking real shit. But I got to go get ready for work. Remember, tomorrow we'll have a 2-hour episode at 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon. All right? So I hope to see you there. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.